My life's like a soundtrack. I wrote to the beat. My life's like a soundtrack. I wrote to the beat.
Hello, this is Thunder Walker with the Thunder Walker Experience, and this is day 2 of the Smoke Currency Tour. We are in Michigan, by the way, and I'm so excited to be at where? The public library. But the man next to me, I saw him in the hallway. We spoke. I caught a glimpse of him. I had no idea that I was going to be interviewing him today. His name is Alex, and he is the Chief Compliance Officer for the House of Danks.
Hey, how y'all doing?
That's a big title, Chief Compliance Officer. And for it to be in cannabis, it also sounds a little scary. So tell me a little bit about what the Chief Compliance Officer does.
It's so funny that I literally alluded to this earlier when I was speaking with them, that the compliance just seems like it relates to like authority, you know?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Instead of it really relating to what it, like keeping us out of trouble and being able to navigate the space within the regulators, with the regulators within your state. Because every state's different.
Absolutely.
And with every state being different, it's gray areas. It's areas that you may not be exposed to. Like you might not even know that a law passed and you could be doing something that could be benefiting your business because you're hesitant, because you're not knowing if it's legal or not.
Right. Exactly.
So that helps me navigate like through Michigan and has like helped me like build a professional career where not even being like in ownership, I've like developed a pretty good space for myself in cannabis.
I love that. Alex, tell me this. Does it ever get boring? Is compliance boring?
I wish it was boring. I wish it was boring. Every day it seems to something different to come up. Even recently, 2 days ago, we had a cannabis drink that was in our dispensaries that was exploding on the shelves because of the heat. So we had to report it so that we can make sure that we get it off of all of our shelves. And then it became like a national recall, or like an actual state recall. So they removed them off everybody's shelves. And
oh my God, that was like picking up the red phone. Yeah. You had to pick up the red phone and let everybody know.
Literally, I swear, every day is something different.
Oh my goodness, that is interesting. So when you talk about compliance, to me, it is a little scary, but not because of the fact that I don't want compliance to happen. I think compliance is important. I own my own dispensary and processing and grow in Oklahoma, and what I've realized is that compliance does keep me safe. It's actually a safeguard to me.
100%.
Not only for the consumer, but also for regulations. If I have an ideal of how to conduct business, then I'm able to conduct it the right way. And so if you don't want to be tied to your dispensary and your grow and your processing day in and day out, and what I mean by that, not being able to leave, you actually have to be able to trust someone to work for you. So without your position, I couldn't trust someone to work for me because you actually go through, I'm assuming, and read through all the regulations and then report it back to a group.
100%. So I have to. So what I like to look at is I like to build a culture of compliance whenever we're opening any operation. So as we open a store, I make sure I like have a compliance champion of the store, somebody who I can speak to directly, who can just tell me, like I can communicate them directly to communicate this to everyone else at the store. Even though I've communicated it to the store, I want someone to like own it so that, like you said, I can trust that when I walk into the store with the state that I'm like confident that I'm going to pass this audit today, you know? So, and I feel like you said, if you feel safe, then I feel like everybody at that store feels like they have a safe space. Like, hey, I have somewhere I'm going to be able to come to work tomorrow.
So with the state, the buck really stops with you, right? As far as like when someone walks in, it's your responsibility to help keep them safe.
Yep. So I host all of our CRA audits, our our Cannabis Regulatory Agency audits. It has made me have to develop like a relationship with them, so that, because one thing that a lot of people don't know is the regulators also are learning. You know, like a lot of times they're trying to figure out what's happening in these stores. So I try to build like a good relationship with them so that we are piggybacking off of each other and knowing what's going on in not just our space, but within the regulator space as well.
Absolutely. I definitely understand that. So sometimes legislators write laws that we don't necessarily agree with.
100%.
So when they do that, is it also your responsibility to help change that law?
I try. That's one of those things that's hard. And I've wrote my congressman before, as they have said. So I've wrote my congressman. It was it's somebody I know in our sector who wanted to work for the regulator, but it was like a law that you have to be outside of the like an actual licensed facility for 3 years to be able to work there. And I feel like that was unfair because their goal when they came to work for me was to do that. And I was like, man, I feel like I got to have your back. I can't just have you out here just like not being able to complete your goals. So I wrote the congressman. I haven't really heard anything back yet. So I can't say how far that has gotten, but I would say that that's the best route you can take. And they have to answer you. So I might not have got an answer yet, but it has to come before it's a certain time set that they have to answer you. Even if it's not an answer you want to hear, it's still like at least may give you peace for wherever you were trying to get.
What got you into compliance?
So I used to work for a company that was MSO, multi-state regulator, and basically we were in 8 states and having to navigate like 8 states and having to learn what this municipal wanted as opposed to this municipal, as opposed to this state, and learn how strict this state was as opposed to how loose this state was. It kind of made me just have the ability, and the company that they were just really looking for someone who was just talented, but they specifically needed a compliance officer, and they wanted somebody to champion it, and I kind of just looked up, honestly.
So for you, how many states have you worked in?
So we were in Missouri, we were in Pennsylvania, California, Oklahoma, and Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So
those are totally different.
Totally. Every state's different. Every single one.
I mean, some of those I heard medicinal, but I also heard adult rec.
Yeah. So rec is a whole different beast in itself. Medicinal is more so, I'll say, is just a starting point. But it's a good starting point because to me, medicinal is teaching you about where your space is in the cannabis space. So like I've seen where it's helped someone with epilepsy, as I've seen where it helps someone with just pain from, from actually losing a limb and having to like have that stump sit on metal, and they just get like a thermal patch, and next thing you know, they're like the pain is just isn't there anymore. And I would have to say like medicinal made me more passionate when it came to rec, so that when it became about the dollars, it still didn't like take away from the holistic point of it, at least.
I like that. And because that's the balance. Everybody's trying to create that balance because, I've heard, and what people say is that the cannabis companies ride in on the caregivers in the medicinal side of cannabis to get it approved. But once it's approved and they go adult rec, then they forget about all of the people that they use to actually get the law passed.
And I would have to say that it's semi-true, just because I feel like you're supposed to, like the real goal should be to bring people along with you. So if you're open about communication, like I would have to say, so we're a part of like 4 or 5 different social equity programs. And I've if we weren't, I just couldn't be there because I feel like I need to be educating people.
Right.
Even if you don't have the means, you need to know where you can work towards. And like you said, a lot of times it becomes about the means when the means are coming if you are like working towards the right goal. And it's still in other spaces, I'll say is more difficult. Here, it was very difficult in regards to that space because Michigan was like in like a battle with social equity. And I like to, I feel like that battle is a lot about ownership as opposed to the real goal. Like, so ownership, like, it's so many other spaces. Like, I don't own anything in cannabis. I don't own one thing yet, but I still do pretty well in the space. And I feel like if everyone's seen, like if whatever job you have, if you've seen that job in this space, then you would look at this a lot different.
Wow, that's deep. That's really, really deep. So before you got into cannabis, working in cannabis, did you consume cannabis?
Yeah, I've been consuming. I'm actually, I consider it a victim.
A victim of cannabis? What are you talking about?
I was I was charged as an adult.
Okay, got you.
When I was like 17 years old for possession, but they charged me with like possession with intent to distribute because I had like a half an ounce that was bagged up. But that's just how the dude sold it to me. It wasn't like a safe space for us yet. You know?
Right, exactly.
I was
young.
A
half an ounce is really not. Well, who you gonna sell a half an ounce to?
That was my thoughts. And on top of who I'm gonna sell it to, dang, y'all about to charge me as an adult over some weed.
Right.
I was so shocked. That's shocked. Crazy. And luckily I have like parents who like helped me get out of that situation. It took a while to get me out of that situation, but because I wouldn't even be able to navigate the space if I wouldn't have been able to get out of it. So
that's huge. Did you have to get what is it? Did you have to get your record just completely erased?
Expunged, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I had to go through the expungement, the redemption program, as they call it here.
I just had that meeting earlier today with an attorney, and she told me about that program. And it's a huge program. It's really, really nice. Did you go through one of the clinics to get started, or you just went straight through your attorney?
So my dad, we went through his attorney. Okay. So I was like lucky for my dad to have like an attorney that specifically was working with the cannabis attorneys in Michigan, and they were just able to like, hey, this is how much it's gonna cost you.
Who's your dad?
Yeah, my dad. He works in the transport industry, the trucking industry.
Okay, so I thought maybe he worked in the cannabis industry.
No, he shunned me my whole life for cannabis, but now he thinks I'm pretty cool. So
okay,
it's kind of crazy.
And that's how most of the time it is. You know, parents are like, no, don't do this. But all of our friends. I remember when I was a little girl, I woke up one night and my parents were having a party, and everybody was drinking what they call pink panties at the time, and I'm like, what the hell is pink panties? You know, as a kid, I'm like, why are y'all drinking pink panties? But you know, that's parents for you. You know, what they do after dark is totally different, and I'm glad that they're supporting you now, though. That's really, really dope.
100%.
That is so dope. So right now, you're just responsible for Michigan compliance? Just
Michigan, because we haven't navigated into any other states because since Michigan, the rec has gone rec. We went from 7 dispensaries to 10 recently.
Oh, wow.
And it's dispensaries with 30. So they're trying to like completely set their feet here before they go into another space. But I feel like that's going to be short-lived because there's too many more opportunities in other states, honestly.
Right. I was just going to ask you, do you keep up with compliance other places?
So I've been keeping up with places close, Michigan, Illinois, New York is big right now. In regards to New Jersey, is probably like one of the biggest markets anybody can get into. So if anyone's trying to get into the market, I'd say New Jersey is it coming up.
That's our next stop on the Smoke Currency tour, baby.
It's fire because they haven't really set their feet yet, and that's always a good space to be in because I remember 6 years ago here it was cool. Now it's like kind of saturated, you know, and you kind of want to go where you're abundant, you know, where abundance is there.
So let me ask you some personal questions. What's your favorite strain?
My favorite strain right now would probably be Runts. I probably like a Runts. I like a good taste.
And how do you consume?
Mostly flower. I also like to break out the rig sometime and partake.
Right.
You know, if I really want to like sit there and pull all my tools out.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work. You got to clean it and everything else.
That's the problem.
Right. I like the one with the water and you just flip it. I have a pineapple and you flip it and it just blows out all your beautiful smoke. But then somebody's got to clean that thing. It's like a dish. You know what I mean? You got
literally. It's almost a party. Like it's a party for yourself. Like a small party. Like that's why I say we about to partake today.
Right. Exactly. So tell me this: what's the future of compliance?
I would have to say the future of compliance would be to, I'm gonna have to repeat it, is to build a culture of compliance within every department. Like, so I've seen a lot of waste, even on just an example is marketing. So I've seen my company put up billboards that we had to immediately take down because of compliance, because you want to make sure you're on top of it. when I say it's compliance in every sector, it's compliance in every sector, from
Absolutely.
marketing to advertising to operations to merchandising. There's certain places you're not supposed to put stuff.
Absolutely.
But make sure you're up on top of it, and you'll stay ahead of it.
One of the questions that we had for you that one of our viewers had asked me to ask, what do you think about this hysteria about cartoons and things like that, drawings? Some people even do not want pictures of actual human beings, women, things like that on the packaging of cannabis. What do you think about that?
Personally, I feel like that I don't like that personally. I don't like, because the fact is that cereal isn't really good for you. Like every cereal isn't good for you, but you got a rabbit on the box, you know? So I feel like it's like with cannabis, it comes with a responsibility. So now I do feel like it should be more parameters around like people having cannabis at home. But in regards to like marketing like cartoons and fruit, I remember when we had to, like, it was like a horse on the package, and they had to cut the horse in half. Just, it's a lot to me when it's way worse going on out here. It's like a box of pancakes that has like a cartoon character on it that is like really bad for you, you know? So I personally feel like that's going to be short-lived, and then it's going to transition back. But as of right now, with it being such an in-the-closet experience, then shoot, a kid might say that that pack of gummies look like fruit snacks. I can't completely disagree, but I do feel like it's going to be short-lived.
I agree. And I think if we would stop being so much in the closet, we would be able to teach these children, hey, this is what this looks like and this is what this looks like. You know, you start teaching kids at age 1 or 2 that the stove is hot. And so to be able to actually explain about a gummy at an early age, I think that that would be more beneficial than to say, okay, if we make it where it doesn't look like a cartoon or it doesn't have a person's face on it or whatever, then that's the thing that's going to keep this out of a child's hands. And I just really don't think that's
because I feel like
case.
that's disservice to the child. Kids are smart.
They're very smart.
That package will be blank, and they will still try what's in it.
Right.
You know, regardless of it having a cartoon on it or not.
Right,
But
exactly.
if you taught them what was in this package, it'd have been better than you like not teaching them and them hurting themselves. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell me about children with disabilities. What do you do as far as compliance with them? Is that a whole nother sector, pediatric cannabis?
So I would say children, as regards to the space, it was more of a medicinal. So we only have one store that is medicinal right now. And in that store, I do see a lot of children in that space, and more so of like RSO tinctures. So this is like specifically medically targeted for that child. Specifically, the kid I know that has epilepsy, when he comes in, you can like see it in his face, like, hey, like, I need this now. I'm getting like real shaky, you know? And to watch him like go to the car and be like, you see what I'm talking about? Like, you see how different I look? And it's kind of like, it's a little bit like heartstring pulling.
Absolutely.
You know, like it pulls your heartstrings to be like, man, I'm in an industry that can possibly change that. So
I love that. I have a 3-year-old that comes into my dispensary, and we do a dance every time she comes in. She's like, I'm going to see Miss Thunder. I'm going to see Miss Thunder. And we have a dance that we put on this song that she likes, and we dance to it. And she picks up her medicine and she leaves out. And it's so cool. She's autistic. And I've seen where the medicine has really, really helped her. But not only helped her, it helped her parents, and it also helped the siblings. Not because they were taking the medicine. The siblings actually ended up having a better form of wellness and childhood because they actually got more attention, since the attention wasn't always on their sister who had a disability. So I could see how cannabis helped everybody in the family. So I think that's just really, really huge. Do you think there'll ever be medicine directed towards just children? Like, can we grow for kids? Can we create things like that for kids? Do you see that happening?
I could not see that happening because of the responsibility of cannabis. Like if it's a medicinal
medicinal.
Purpose, medicinal purpose for 100%.
Okay.
For 100% for medicinal purpose, because man, like this industry is still transforming a lot. Like I know someone right now who is specifically making a cannabis strain directed towards PTSD. So like his whole marketing is around like post-traumatic stress for people who are in the war, people who've been in like very traumatic like domestic situations, and to kind of like pull them away from that trauma. And I feel like that trauma is still within in the children, like in kids, the children realm as well. So I can't see that not happening.
I hope so, because, you know, there's everything else for kids. There's children's aspirin, children's toothpaste, there's children's, you know, cough medicine. So why wouldn't they have a children's form of cannabis that maybe wasn't so, it wouldn't give the euphoria of taking it, but it would actually give the benefits of the THC.
100%, because every product you don't have to have a psychoreactive for it. Like, I don't see, well, every time that kid comes in with epilepsy, I never seen him high. I just seen him happy, like he feels better.
Right. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I really appreciate you coming out and speaking to us at the Thunderwalker Experience. Tell us how we can reach you and how we can find you.
You can find me on social media at High Off Life with X's instead of I's. Also, you can reach me at my email at compliance@shophod.com, or you can reach me by phone. Please reach out at any time.
If you have some questions, that's perfect. I'm Thunder Walker with the Thunder Walker Experience, and we are on day 2 of the Smoke Currency Tour. Thanks for joining us.